Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to another live stream with me, Lar Ryan from Complete Test Success. What we're doing today is pretty straightforward. We're just going to have a Q&A. And so Q&A is standing for questions and answers. So the idea here is pretty simple in that you tell me what questions you have about the Ielts test. And of course, I will answer those for you. Or it might be the case that you don't necessarily have a question, but you might be having a problem with the Ielts test. So it might be the case that, you have some problem, you don't know how to overcome it. You can describe that problem to me and I'll have some advice for you based on whatever issue you're having as well. So either way, if you have a question or if you want to describe a problem you're having, just let me know and I'll be able to help you. Usama, hello to you. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the lesson. Hi, Bincy. Good to see you here again. And I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. How are you getting on with the writing, Bincy? Last week you said that writing is a struggle for you. So were you able to determine, what is it about writing that you were finding difficult? Sir, in Ielts reading? Yeah, go ahead, Usama. It's difficult. Okay. So again, and this is actually quite similar to what I was just talking about with Bincy, in that, there's nothing you can really do with that information. You need to be more specific about what you're finding difficult. Oh, difficult to manage time. Yeah. Okay. So, you just have to start from trying to improve your scores. Don't worry about the time in the beginning. Like, if you're trying to improve your scores and you're trying to do it under exam conditions at the same time, it's almost impossible. So if you only give yourself 1 hour to do the reading test, because that's how much time you get in the real test. So if you're doing a practice reading test and you only give yourself 1 hour, then you're not getting an opportunity to, understand how the test works, to analyze the format of the test, to look at the various question types and to look at the instructions and think about those in more detail. So yeah, there will come a time when you need to work on time management in reading, but in the beginning, it's more important that you focus on understanding what problems you have, understanding how the test works, and working towards improving your scores. So I would say, let's say you're aiming for a band 8 in reading. Don't worry about how much time it takes you yet. Worry about improving yourself to the point where you can get a band 8 when you do a practice reading test. So even if that practice reading test takes you 2 or 3 hours, take as much time as you need and just get yourself to a place where you can get the score you need. After that, start working on the time. And what you would do is just shorten how much time you spend. So let's say, your previous test took you an hour and a half. So this time you focus on only giving yourself an hour and a quarter. So you reduce how much time you allow yourself and put yourself on the stopwatch. Make sure that you reduce how much time you spend on each one that you do. So yes, time management, you just have to push yourself, try to shave 5-10 minutes off every time you do a practice test, but don't do it until you have definitely got yourself to the point where you can get the score that you need. That's what you should be addressing first. Khaled, hello to you. Welcome. Hi, Jawad. Good to see you here. Ielts is difficult. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I think I'm 100% confident. Yes, it is difficult, but it can be made easier when you understand how it works. In the beginning, it's very difficult because there's so many things happening. What's happening in each part of the test isn't straightforward, but once you understand what's required, it's not really that difficult. And what will happen eventually is you'll get to the point where you realize, oh, okay, I'm not getting the score I need because I need to improve my pronunciation and my grammar. And then you just need to focus on that. And then how much you need to improve those things is what makes it difficult or easy. But inevitably, it's just about understanding what you need to do and doing that. Hello, Brain Train Academy. Writing is not easy. So again, Bincy, you were saying this last week, but there's nothing you can do with that information to improve your writing. So break it down. What is difficult about writing? Why is it difficult for you? Is it spelling? Is it grammar? Is it vocab? Is it understanding the question? Is it generating your ideas? Is it making sure your ideas are relevant? Is it making sure your ideas are specific? So try to work out more specifically what exactly it is that makes writing difficult for you, and then you can address the issue. But if you just say, writing is not easy, you don't know what action to take. So you need to figure out what exactly is making it difficult for you. I'm very good. Thank you for asking. Hi, Viral. Hello to you. Welcome. Facebook user. I think you're probably in the Facebook group. I think that's what happens, that the name doesn't come up. You're doing great work. Thank you. Good morning, Sadaf. Hello again. Faisal, hello. So I got 6.5 bands on your first attempt. Good. Is that the score that you needed, Ikram? Did you get the score you needed? Otuka, reading, listening, and generation of vocabulary is always an issue for me. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on there, but generating of vocab, we normally just talk about generating ideas. And then with vocabulary, it's about your knowledge. So do you know enough vocabulary to communicate the ideas you need to communicate? So can you communicate your ideas? If vocabulary is stopping you from communicating your ideas, you need to improve your vocab. I think that's a difficult pill to swallow, because we all know how much time it takes to improve vocabulary. And I think not necessarily you, Otuka, but with a lot of students, they don't want to accept that piece of information is you need to improve your vocabulary. They're looking for a way to avoid it. They're looking for other ways to improve their scores, because they know that, accepting you need to improve your vocabulary is accepting that you're going to have to spend weeks and possibly months working on English every single day. And for a lot of students, that's more work than they want to do, understandably. But if you're serious about getting your IELTS scores and you have a problem with vocab, that is what you need to do. Hey, Sharafat, good to see you here. I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking. Hopefully you're doing well too. Usama, and sir, any tips for skimming, because it's difficult to read whole passage in minimum time? Yeah, I have a different reading strategy. It sounds like you haven't seen it. But yeah, I agree. Skimming is a difficult skill. I'm not good at it. I don't like skimming. I don't believe skimming is the best way to find the answers, because I just find it too difficult. Basically, you're told to read the text without reading the text. That's what skimming is. And to me, that's far too complicated. My advice is read the text. And it makes things a lot easier than trying to read the text without reading the text, which is essentially what skimming is. You're looking for words instead of reading the text. But you're not just looking for the word in the question, you're looking for a synonym of the word in the question. And then what word are you looking for in the question? Well, you have to choose the correct keyword. And if you choose the incorrect keyword, then you're not going to find the answer. It's very, very complicated. So reading the text is much easier. My advice is to read the first paragraph and then check the questions, read the second paragraph and then check the questions, and just do it that way. That way you're not skimming, you're not scanning, you're just reading the text, understanding it, and then, applying the information that you can to the questions that you can. Here, I'll share it with you in the comments. So if you go to the newest comment there, Usama, or any of the rest of you who are struggling with reading, you'll find that strategy there. So take a look at that. There's no skimming involved, and to me, it just makes life a lot easier. Hi, Delitsu. I see you're still sharing my materials with your friends. Thank you. Thanks for that. Hi, Blessing. Sharafat, sir, I have been finding your diagram related video, but I couldn't be able to find my diagram related video. Sorry, Sharafat. Can you tell me what diagram you're talking about? I'll be able to find you the material, but I don't know what you're looking for. So if you can just tell me in more detail what diagram you're talking about, I can help you with that. Abhishek, sir, please help me regarding writing. Yeah, definitely. So what problem are you having? Tell me what problem you're having more specifically than that. Because, I mean, there are a finite number of problems you can have, but is it you don't understand the question, you don't know how to write the essay? Is it you're having a problem with your grammar, your vocab? Like, what is it about writing that you're finding difficult? Hey, Faisal. Is it okay? Hi, Alex. Is it okay if I missed S in my answer for listening section? No. If you need the S, so if it's plural, like the word should have been, I don't know, cups, and you put cup with no S, that's wrong. It has to be the exact same. The only thing that they don't care about for reading and listening is the punctuation. So they actually don't care about capital letters. So if you've got the punctuation incorrect, you will still get the mark. But if you've got the grammar wrong, so you forgot the S, or if you've got the spelling wrong, and even if it's like very, very clear that you did know the answer and you got the answer correct, but the spelling was wrong, then you don't get the mark. So no, it has to be the exact same, except for punctuation. That's the only thing that you can get wrong. Viral, sir, can we tell me some suggestion? Who has done a test more than 3 times? How can we be motivated to update? If you're unmotivated because you've done the test 3 times, I mean, the problem is that you don't know why you're failing the test. That's the issue. So for most people who join my Ielts course, they will have failed the test several times. And the reason that they're coming to me is because they don't know why they're failing it. Because, like, let's say for speaking, you've done the Ielts test 3 times, you needed a 7, but you got 6.5. You've no idea why you got a 6.5. You don't understand what is stopping you from getting a 7. So when you start studying again, you don't know, like, are you trying to improve your fluency, your vocab, your grammar, or your pronunciation? You don't know what you need to focus on. And that's demotivating, because you can go home, look, after the first time you fail the test, you can go home, study all day, every day for months and still fail the second time. Because even if you're working hard, let's say your problem was really with, grammar, but you work very hard on fluency. Well, then, you're still going to get the same score because you haven't addressed the issue that is stopping you from getting your required score. So to stay motivated, it's difficult to stay motivated when you fail a few times. It's very easy to give up, and it's difficult to stay motivated. But I mean, what's important is, the doors that will open for you when you get your Ielts score. So is it important enough for you? Like, you're going to move country, bring your family to a new country, get a job in a new country, study in a new country, whatever it is. Like, is that important enough to you? And are you going to do what it takes for you to get that score? So, I mean, my advice would be, find someone who can tell you what problems you have so that you can address the issues that are really stopping you from getting a score. Like I was saying, I have an Ielts course. You'll find plenty of Ielts courses online as well. So it doesn't have to necessarily be with me. But what I would recommend is just make sure you're working with an actual Ielts expert. So there are lots and lots of courses out there. There's no qualification. Like, there's no qualification to say you can teach Ielts. I mean, anybody can just, turn on a camera, start a website, whatever. There's no regulation as to who's teaching Ielts. So it's very easy to find, someone who knows nothing about Ielts that's teaching Ielts. So just be careful that you can trust the person that you're working with. But if you fail 3 times and you don't know why you failed 3 times, you need to find out what is stopping you from getting your score. And once you know what you need to do to fix it, then it becomes manageable. And it's more motivating when you know you're doing the correct thing to get your scores. That was a very long answer to your question, but I think I've covered it there. Hi, Alexia. Good to see you too. Nice to see you again. Hello to you there. Welcome. Welcome to the lesson. Mian, can you give me tips on yes, no, not given for the reading test? Yeah, there are a few things. I shared the reading strategy already, but there are a few things with yes, no, not given. And the most common mistake is like students are afraid to choose not given because they think it's their fault. They think it's their language ability is the problem, not that the answer is really not given. So it's like this. I explain it like this. Like, let's say if the answer is true, let's say this is the text, and if the answer is true, I say to you, can you show me in the text where it says the answer is true? And you can circle the information, go, look here, this is how I know it's true. And it's the same with false. If I say, like, you said the answer is false, why do you think that? And you can show me in the text, you can say, look here, in the text it says this, that's how I know it's false. So with no, same, true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. So it's the same situation. So for yes or no, you can show me where in the text you got the information to decide if it's yes or no. But with not given, you won't be able to circle any information because the information isn't there. That's what not given means. So what happens to most students is they'll stay looking and looking and looking, and they'll end up losing time because they're not confident enough to choose not given. But the thing is, it's the same. The experience is the same. If you're making a mistake and you choose not given, or the information isn't there and you choose not given, the experience you have is the same. So you just need to be more confident and choose not given when you cannot find the information. And that's generally where students find it difficult. And a lot of students lose a lot of time on these question types because they're afraid to choose not given. They think they're doing the wrong thing. The other thing then is that for these questions, the answers appear in order. So as you read the text, the first answer you'll find is question 1. The second answer you'll find is the answer to question 2, and so on. Question 3 will be the next one. So let's say you found the answer to question 1 and question 3. You know that the answer to question 2 should be somewhere between those two. So that reduces the amount of text that you need to read to find your answer to question 2. So just keep that in mind. If you're looking for the answer to question 2, it's going to be between 1 and 3. And if you can't find it, just choose not given. So yeah, those would be the main things for those question types. Khaled, how can I practice speaking alone? Mainly, you need to speak. So make sure that you're speaking out loud. The other thing then is don't give yourself a lot of time to prepare. So, don't decide I'm going to talk about the environment and then stop and think for a long time. What you need to do is you need to create a situation similar to the way speaking really works, whereas somebody asks you something and you have to respond immediately. I have various ways you can do that. I have some strategies for you. Here. So I'll just share it with you in the comments as well. So how to practice. So Khaled, I've just shared it with you in the comments. So there's just various ways that you can create that scenario where you don't know what you're going to talk about until you straight away you see whatever the topic is or you see what the question is, and then you start speaking immediately. So it's recreating that scenario where you don't have enough time to prepare, that you just have to speak instantly. So you can see that here, how to practice speaking alone. Click on that link and you'll see the strategy there. I'm just sharing that a second time because it didn't go through to Facebook for some reason. And there it is now. Okay. So yeah, Khaled, you just need to be able to be in a place where you can speak out loud, practice by yourself. Nobody has to listen to you to practice speaking alone. And that's where a lot of students limit themselves, is they won't practice speaking unless they're speaking to someone. So you're on the right track. You can do it alone, and just click on that link and you'll see various ways to create the situation I've described. How to motivate to restart IELTS preparation with more energy and enthusiasm. I think, like I said, just make sure that you know what's stopping you from getting your scores, and make sure that you are just working on those exact things that you need to work on. But I know after failing a few times, it is difficult to stay motivated. And again, like, that's why on my course, like, part of the service on my IELTS courses is I'll tell the students when they're ready. So, if you come to me with a band 6 level of speaking and you need a band 7, I'm not going to let you book the test until you're a band 7. So instead of losing motivation and doing the test many times, I'm going to give you the information. It's like, you're not ready yet, stay working. Now you're a band 7. Now is a good time to book the test. So I know that it isn't, it's hard to stay motivated, but being aware of what you need to do and doing that and seeing yourself improve, that will keep you motivated. So make sure that you're setting, like, set goals, not just, I want to get a band 7 in writing, but this week I want to write 5 essays. I want to study whatever grammar point for 5 hours. I want to do this for 3 hours. Give yourself goals of what you plan to do. And then at least at the end of the week, you can go, look, I've done this. I'm doing the things that I need to do. Therefore, I know I'm improving. And that can be more motivating, when you acknowledge the improvements that you're making and the hard work that you're doing. I have, as well as my IELTS courses, I have live feedback lessons. So those are my free group lessons on Zoom. I have those every week for my email subscribers. So I know a lot of you here already signed up for those, but just in case you're not, so those free live feedback lessons on Zoom, just click on that link. And then once you've subscribed, you'll see the list, the schedule for those lessons. And I cover everything, again, reading, writing, listening, speaking, but in a group class on Zoom. So if you haven't already, go ahead and sign up for those. And obviously I'll have more advice for you there. Okay. I'm having issues with reading and listening. So again, Delitsu, why? And I know you've been studying for a long time. So break it down into, are you having problems with your language ability? So is it your language ability that's stopping you from getting the scores you need, or is it the exam technique? So are you making mistakes with how you answer the questions? Let's say, for example, the question says no more than 2 words and you put down 3 words. So that's an exam technique, where an exam skill where you're not reading the instructions properly. And the solution to that is read the instructions more carefully from now on. Or is it, you're making spelling mistakes, so you're losing marks because of your spelling? If that's the issue, well, then stop doing reading and listening tests and focus on improving your spelling. Or, it might be a vocab thing where you never heard that word before. You don't know what the word means. You can't get the answer correct because you don't understand, the audio or the text. So if that's the issue, then, obviously you need to improve your vocab. So it's important to really analyze why you are not getting the score you need and addressing that issue directly. But if you want to tell me more specifically what problem you're having with reading and listening, I can give you advice on that too. Your required band is 6 and you got 6.5. Excellent. Well done, Ikram. That's fantastic. Good for you. So what's the plan now? What are you doing next after this? Okay, Good, Viral. Good. Sir, I don't have any vocabulary for reading. Fill in the blanks. So does that mean that you don't understand the text? I mean, if you have a vocabulary issue, you have to improve your vocab. That's, there's nothing else to it. You're not going to get better at reading. If vocab is your issue, you're not going to get better scores until you address that. So like, are you working on vocab every day? How many hours are you spending on vocab every day? Are you reviewing your vocab notebook every day? Like, are you taking the action that's required from you to improve your scores? If you are, brilliant, and stay doing it. And if you're not, start today, because that's the only way you'll get the score you need. If vocab is your issue, you have to improve your vocab. Sharafat, sir, you didn't mention how to write overview of diagram in your video. Okay, so you want support with overview. Overview of diagram. Are you talking about a process? Maybe you're talking about a process, is it? I'm guessing. And my lesson on processes does cover overviews. I don't know if that's what you're looking for. Is my problem here. But let me share that with you. IELTS. Let's say academic IELTS task processes. I think that's what you mean, Sharafat. I'm not 100% sure, but I've just shared a link with you there. Academic IELTS Task 1 processes, and there's definitely it covers how to write an overview for those question types in that lesson. But again, I'm not 100% sure if that's what you mean by diagram, because it could be like a graph would still be a diagram, a map would still be a diagram. So the word diagram, I'm guessing you mean process, and if I'm wrong, just let me know. What types of questions do first in reading to save time? I wouldn't do any questions first. I look at all the questions at the same time. So like I said earlier, in my strategy, you don't even look at the questions. Start by reading the first paragraph, then look at every question. Look at all 13 questions for that passage. Then read the second paragraph and look at all the questions again. Then read the third paragraph, look at all the questions again. So I wouldn't start with any question type. I start with the first paragraph. So again, you can see that strategy. I've shared it here already. But it doesn't matter what question types are in the passage. We'll just go through all of them for every paragraph. That's the way I'll do it. Skimming and scanning destroys your language development. I don't know about that, to be very honest. I'm not sure if that's true. And then the thing as well, so what I wonder about this is, why are you reading? You should have a purpose for reading. So if you're reading to improve your vocab, or you're reading to improve your grammar, you should be doing what's that called? Active reading, where you're reading for that purpose. If you're just reading for pleasure or you're reading to improve your overall reading skills, then make sure that you're reading without stopping every 5 seconds. So it just depends on your purpose for reading. And then if you're skimming and scanning, I mean, you're probably just doing it because you're following a reading strategy. So again, it depends on your purpose for reading, but be clear, like make sure that you know your own purpose for reading before you start. Don't just read aimlessly. Do it with an intended outcome. Do it with a specific purpose in mind. Task 1 diagrams are related to like bar charts and line graphs. Okay. So that previous lesson that I sent you isn't what you're looking for. Okay. shared a link with you in the comments there, Sharafat. It's called Academic IELTS Writing Overviews. I should have put task 1, but that's what it says. Task 1 overviews. You have questions paper and answer paper. That must be related to something we were talking about earlier on. I'm not sure what you mean there, Bincy. Akhil, hello to you. Good to see you here. How to join your course. I'll share that with you here. So I have various courses, one for mainly focusing on writing, one for mainly focusing on speaking, because some students don't need help in the other area, and then one for each. I also have practice speaking tests and essay corrections. So you'll find all of those, the courses and the services, all on the same page. So again, I'll just share that with you guys again. I'm sending a lot of links today. Here, IELTS courses and services. So just click on the link and you'll see the various courses and services there. Hi, Constance. Haven't seen you for a long time. Finishing reading on time. Okay. So we talked about this earlier, but are you getting the score you need already? Are you getting the score that you need already when you give yourself extra time? And if you're not, don't worry about time yet. If you are, make sure that you're timing yourself, limit yourself to, like if it's normally taking you 1 hour, 15 minutes, limit yourself to, 1 hour, 10 minutes or 1 hour, 5 minutes. So try to shave it down a little bit at a time, but also consider like what question types are you losing time on? So, I mean, typically it's going to be the true, false, not given question types that like students are very slow to choose not given and lose a lot of time with those question types, and matching headings question types where, students don't understand the difference in meaning between two options. And they spend, a long time looking at that, trying to figure out which one to choose. And the reality is, if you don't have the vocab ability to understand the difference, you just have to guess. And spending more time looking at it isn't improving your guess. So, if it's that type of mistake that you're making, just be aware of where you're losing time, and make sure to address that. You're very welcome. Good question. What is the easiest way to cover all parts of IELTS without much effort? You can't. Like there's a reason. There's a reason that, there's a reason that the reward for getting a good IELTS score is so big. It's because it's difficult. If it was easy, the reward wouldn't be big. No, there's no easy way. If you've already got a very, very strong level of English, then you still need to understand how the test works. Like if your English is good, but you don't understand how to answer the IELTS questions correctly, or you don't know what an IELTS test looks like, you're not going to get a good score. So it's a combination of understanding the IELTS test, understanding what you need to do, what IELTS wants you to do to be able to write essays in a way that IELTS wants your essays written. For example, you can't, like it requires effort. It requires effort. You can't just do it quickly or easily. You need to dedicate yourself to it. So no, my answer to that question is you can't. John, in my first attempt, I wrote an essay with 400 words because I included hook, background, and my opinion in my introduction. Also, my essay had 4 ideas that should have been 2 main ideas. And I got 6 for it. Well, I mean, I can't say exactly why you got 6, but it's definite that you weren't using your time as well as you could have. So, like 280 words is enough to get a good score. I mean, you can get full marks with a 280 word essay, but that's more related to your task achievement score. So, are your ideas relevant? Is your development appropriate? Are you developing those ideas appropriately? You can do all of that in 280 words. So then, I mean, the purpose of writing a shorter answer is you can analyze the question. Because you have extra time, you can analyze the question more carefully. You can plan your essay more carefully. You can make sure that all your ideas are relevant before you start writing your essay. You can decide how you're going to develop those ideas before you write your essay. And then with a shorter essay, you have time when you're finished to go back, correct any vocab mistakes, correct any grammar mistakes. So, it's not just about how many words, it's about the quality of the answer, and also using your time in a way where you can prepare more effectively before you write your essay, and you can correct more mistakes after you write your essay. So, it's just using your time wisely. I can't say exactly why you got a 6. It could be maybe your task achievement was great and you just made too many vocab and grammar mistakes. It could be, like, I can't say for sure that the issue is task achievement. You could still get a high task achievement score with 400 words, but maybe there were just too many grammar and vocab mistakes. So, we wouldn't know without looking at your answer. Khaled, you're very welcome. Hey, Jervin, always a pleasure. Nikunj, how to generate idea in writing part 2. So, in general, there are just 2 requirements of a main idea. So your main idea needs to be relevant. That's number 1. And relevant means it's about the question. So is your main idea about the question you've been asked? And where candidates normally go wrong is their main ideas are about the topic in general. So the general topic of the question, rather than directly addressing the question. So don't just see what's the topic about and talk about the topic. Look at specifically what have you been asked to discuss, and make sure that your ideas are about that specific thing. So that's the first thing. Need to make sure your ideas are relevant. So, you might have a lot of ideas. Write down your ideas and check, are they relevant? If any of them are not relevant, you need to remove them. They're not helping you get a good score. Then you need to look at the ideas that are left and check if they're specific. Now, if they're specific, it means that the person reading it will know exactly what idea you're talking about. So a typical mistake would be when a student says, let's say it's like, what's the advantage of, what are the advantages of using a smartphone? And if I said to you, oh, the advantage is that it's very convenient, like, your idea of why it's convenient might not be the same as my idea of why it's convenient. So if your idea is like open for interpretation, that different people will understand it in different ways, then it's vague. And you need your idea to be specific. So, like, I might say, for example, why is it convenient? You might say it's convenient because, you can use the free apps to phone people. I might say it's convenient because, I can do bank transactions on it. So, we both have reasons why it's convenient, but we have different ideas about why it's convenient. So make sure that your main ideas are specific, and that whoever reads it will definitely be thinking of the same idea that you're thinking of. So that's it. When you're generating your ideas, write them down, remove any of them that are irrelevant, and then make sure that they're specific. And if you've done that, then your ideas are appropriate. Okay. Sir, can you tell me your YouTube channel name? I want to see your lectures on YouTube. Yeah, it's called Complete Test Success. So same as you see here on my email address, Complete Test Success. Type that in and you'll find me there on YouTube. Sir, diagram is one kind, task one, like map, bar, and so on. So I've separated those into 3 different types. So task 1 is a graph, chart. Those are the main ones. But then also there are maps and processes. So you deal with those 3 different question types separately. All the graphs you deal with in the same way, all the maps you deal with the same way, and all the processes you deal with in the same way. So I've sent you materials for the graphs and the processes, and on the same website, same link, you'll find that you'll find the maps lesson there. Okay, so we just discussed that a moment ago. Oh, that's you again, just on a different platform. You jumped from YouTube over to Facebook. Okay, so pretty sure I've answered that for you there already. Jamshid, hello to you. Hi there. Ismail, is an easy way to rephrase the question in writing, how to improve spelling. So to rephrase the question in writing, just make sure it has the same meaning. And in general, the mistake that I see is students are afraid to use any words from the question, and that's not the point. You can use words from the question if you don't know other synonyms. If you don't know synonyms, just copy the word from the question. So change as much as you can change, copy the words you need to copy. What you want to avoid is copying groups of words. So if you copy 3, 4, 5 words in a row from the paraphrase, from the question into your paraphrase, that's not good. But if you take one word from here, one word from here, one word from here, that's no problem. So don't overdo it. Don't feel like you cannot use any of the words. That's not the point. To improve your spelling, what you want is to keep a notebook of all your spelling mistakes. So you'll find Microsoft Word or Google Sheets or any word processor, but they will have spell checkers in them. So what I would advise is, type your answers into whatever word processor you use, turn on the spell checker, and write down all the words that you spelt incorrectly. So it will show you which ones are wrong, and it will show you the correct spelling. So keep a note of those. Keep a notebook where you have all of the words you spell incorrectly, and sit down and learn the correct spelling. So that's the best way to improve your spelling. And the improving your spelling part is just sit down and learn it. The difficult part is finding the spellings, finding the words that you spell incorrectly. And that's why I would recommend using a word processor, because at least that way you can do it by yourself. You're not depending on someone else to tell you all of the words that you're spelling incorrectly, and that obviously makes life a lot easier. Sadaf, I always follow your advice to read the passage first to know the gist of the given passage. Accurate strategy. Good. Yeah, it definitely works. It's just less complicated. I think that's the biggest part of that strategy, is it's less complicated. You read the text and you know what it's about because you've read the text. Yeah, it's to me, it's a puzzle why normal IELTS reading strategies have become so complicated. I don't know how that happened, but every single IELTS book that I've ever seen, all the IELTS websites, everyone just says skim, scan, keywords, this, that. I don't know how that became the standard way to do a reading test, but it's very complicated. I don't know why it has to be so complicated, but that, yeah, I think keeping things simple definitely makes it easier. Okay, Sharafat, the diagram shows the process by which milk and related products are produced. Summarize information by sector. Sir, here's example of diagram. But sir, you didn't mention how to write diagram overview and the language for it. Yeah, so that's called a process. That's a process. That was the first link that I shared with you. I think I labeled it Academic IELTS Writing Task 1 Processes. So that's the one that you're looking for. It's called a process question. Okay. Jamshid, sir, share reading track. I'm not sure what you mean by track there, Jamshid. Okay. We have 15 minutes left in this live stream and quite a few questions. So I'm gonna pick up the pace because I want to make sure I've answered everyone's question. So I'm going to try and give shorter answers to make sure everyone gets what they need. Okay, Mirwise, what is the easiest way to cover all parts of IELTS without much effort? Okay, so we looked at that. It's not possible. I mean, how to be like native speaker, you have to work very hard. You have to work very, very hard. Actually, they don't study these skills, but they are good at it. No, everybody studies those. I mean, if you think anybody has become a native English speaker easily, you're wrong. You're wrong. They're like, it's not that they didn't work hard. It's that you didn't see them working hard. Or it might be that they try to make it seem like they don't talk about it a lot. But there's no way, like, nobody becomes excellent at anything without working hard. Some people have natural skills, so it might be a little bit easier for some people than other, but that doesn't mean that they didn't work hard. No. That's a complete misconception. Like, I think, look, I don't follow football, so I don't know a lot about it, but I hear a lot of people talking about the Portuguese guy, Ronaldo, and they're saying, like, he's the best in the world because he works harder than anybody else in the world. And that's consistently what they say. Same with like Michael Jordan in basketball. Like, everyone said he was the best in the world, but there's a reason, because he worked harder than everyone else. It's not, nobody becomes excellent by not trying. If you feel like other people are lucky, it's because they've been working very hard for a very long time. I'd say, like, with the exception of like children, if somebody was lucky enough that their parents got them studying English from the age of 5, 6, 7, and kids do pick up language very quickly compared to adults. But besides that, no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that anybody's doing it easily. Okay, Nikunj, so we looked at that. Hi, Hanan, I'm doing well. Thank you. How to improve listening section 3 with multiple choice. I have difficulty here. Yeah, the thing with multiple choice is that the questions are so long, it's almost impossible to read all of the questions before the audio starts. So just read the main part. Don't read the options. Just read the stem. Don't read the options. And that will at least help you understand what you're looking for. The other thing is, when you read the options, there are 3 of them are incorrect. So if anything, it's more confusing to look at them all. In relation to section 3, the language is intentionally more difficult because they need to see what level you are. So, like, if they need to distinguish between a band 9 and a band 8.5, they can't have all easy questions. It needs to get more and more and more difficult so that they can clearly distinguish the difference between all of the higher bands. So, if you're aiming for a band 7, you should expect part 3 to be very challenging. You should expect section 3 to be very challenging, because it's no longer about you at your band 7 level. It's about the band 9 and the band 8.5 candidates. So, they have to have that level of difficulty to distinguish between those. So don't get too caught up in section 3. Just make sure that you're getting enough right to get the score you need. Selik, I like your contribution. Thank you very much, and you're welcome. Blue Unicorn, this is my first time watching your content. Got the recommendation from IELTS Advantage. Yeah, Chris has sent quite a few people my direction in recent times. Also very reliable. IELTS Advantage is, we were talking earlier on about, there are some reliable and some unreliable teachers out there, and IELTS Advantage is definitely one of the most reliable and well-known ones. Tom, is it okay if I don't follow the bullet points on the cue card and I just speak in my own style instead? Yep. So Chom is talking about IELTS speaking part 2, and the answer to the question is yes, you can do that. That's no problem. Nikunj, you're very welcome. Muzam, always a pleasure to see you, sir. Good to see you here. Anonymous Dev, there's cases that band scores increase up to 1.5 band after remark. Why is that? It's very rare, but yeah, it does happen. Why does it happen? I mean, probably because an IELTS examiner needs to get fired, to be honest with you. If an IELTS examiner is 1.5 marks out, they're not going to keep their jobs. So yeah, on a rare occasion where an IELTS examiner is, I mean, if they became an IELTS examiner, they had to pass the training. So they were able to do it when they started. You know, they would fail the training if they got 1.5 band out during the training, they would not get the job. And IELTS examiners are constantly rechecked and constantly check their work. Their work is constantly checked, and they lose their jobs if they're 1.5 band out for sure. They don't get their jobs anymore. So I would say, like, maybe on a rare occasion where an IELTS examiners just stop caring and they don't care about their job anymore, that would be the only way I could imagine this happening, because there's so many checks and rechecks and training and retraining that, you know, it's not that somebody isn't capable. It's not that an IELTS examiner can get the job if they're not capable. So at some point along the line, they've obviously they've stopped caring. And that's the only way I can imagine that happening. So that's my guess. That's not 100% what happened. I don't know exactly, but the only way I can imagine that happening would be that. But it's very, very rare. That's very, very rare. Normally, like, it might go up by half a band, one band on rare occasions. I've never had a student increase by 1.5. But you're right. It does happen on very rare occasions. Alexia, no problem. You're very welcome. Javad, how to generate ideas while speaking, because sometimes we didn't get any practical experience about the question to answer him or her naturally, which is asked by the IELTS examiner. Yeah, so I mean, it's not a knowledge test. It's not a knowledge test. And a lot of students fall into this. It's just like into this thing. So be like let's say the question is this: like, why is playing video games good for children? And then you're instantly thinking, why is a video? And you're thinking like, okay, why is it good? Why is it good? Why is it good? But maybe really you think it's not good. But you can say that. You can say that. So don't let the way the question has been phrased, why is it good for children? You can still turn around and go, well, actually, I don't think it's good for children. I think it's bad for children. And then say why you think it's bad. So, you know, it's not a knowledge test. You can just answer the question as you would outside the IELTS test. As long as you're answering the question you've been asked, that's fine. Or it might even be the case, you know, if someone says like, why are video games good for children? And you might just not know, but you can just explain why you don't know. So your answer could be, honestly, I don't have any children. I don't spend any time around children, and I don't play video games. So for me to answer that question would be a complete guess. I really don't have any experience with either of those things. So for me at the moment, I really can't say or imagine what that would be. You know, so just rather than stumbling and saying nothing, just explain why you don't have that information. So, you know, it's not a knowledge test. It's not a general knowledge test. It's not about knowing everything about everything. It's about being able to communicate. So do you have the language to communicate your ideas, your answers? You know, it's about checking your fluency, your vocab, your grammar, pronunciation. So it's not about knowledge. And don't let yourself get cornered by the question. You know, don't feel like you have to come up with a specific reason when you don't have any. Just communicate. Just let the examiner know your own thoughts on it, and that's fine. That won't be an issue. Sir, can you send essay noted? I'm very sorry, Bincy. I don't know what that means. Essay noted. What do you mean by noted? I understand the word noted, but when it's used with essay noted, I'm not sure what that means, Bincy. So let me know what you mean, and I'll definitely help. I'll definitely help. Okay, so quickly, Sadaf, you're very welcome. No problem. Hanan, I'm preparing for a long time. I know I improve a lot. Yeah, that's how you stay motivated, by noticing your improvement. Yeah, brilliant. Ochuka, sir, please, I'll appreciate if you can do videos on your YouTube channels on how to tackle task 1 academic questions on maps, pie chart, process, bar chart, etc. You will find those on my YouTube channel already. So let me just very quickly find, I have a playlist that covers all of those things. Just trying to find the link for you here. No. Okay, so I called it Academic Task 1 Playlist. So that's what you're looking for there. Now I'm losing concentration. So like, are you studying so hard that you're not allowing yourself to sleep properly? You're not eating properly. You're not doing enough exercise. If you're just prioritizing study and everything else is sacrificed, then eventually you won't be able to stay focusing forever. So, you have to give yourself a chance, give your brain a chance to keep up with you as well. No, Sadaf, I'm not examining anymore. Not for quite a few years, actually. It's been about maybe over 3 years since I've been examining. What should I do after completing a Cambridge book test for listening? Analyze your mistakes and understand the reason why you got every answer incorrect. Focus completely on your incorrect answers so you know what to do to improve your score. When do we book our IELTS test? When you know you're ready. So when you know you're capable of getting a band 7 in writing, if you need a 7 in writing, wait until you're capable of getting that score and then you book it. Okay, so that seems to be it. That's all the questions. Again, let me just share the link for my live feedback lessons. Next one is tomorrow. So those are for my email subscribers. If you haven't already, click on that link and subscribe there. And then I'll see you in the lesson tomorrow. If you've already subscribed, I'll see you in the lesson tomorrow. Is it necessary to put complex and compound grammar structures every line while attempting writing? If you can, do if you can. Yeah, if you can, you should. If you find that very, very difficult, make sure that you're focusing on clarity. But if you can, then you should, for sure. Okay, so we'll finish up there. I'll be back. I have another live stream this day next week at the same time. I have another lesson on IELTS reading coming out on Thursday. So that's a video on Thursday. You'll find that in YouTube and Facebook there. Besides that, talk to you guys here or in the live stream next week. Take care of yourselves. Have a good week. Best of luck to any of you with tests coming up soon. Bye-bye. Take care.